Picture this scenario. Two farmers start with the same budget, same crop goals, but choose completely different paths. One invests in a state-of-the-art greenhouse facility, while the other sticks to traditional open field farming. Fast forward 3 years, and their financial outcomes tell dramatically different stories. The greenhouse farmer is harvesting crops year-round with yields up to 12 times higher per square foot, while the open field farmer battles unpredictable weather, pest invasions, and seasonal limitations. This stark contrast isn't just hypothetical. It's happening right now across agricultural communities worldwide, and the numbers are reshaping how we think about modern farming investments. To give you a complete picture of this crucial agricultural decision, we've structured this comprehensive analysis into 4 essential parts that will transform how you view farming economics. In the first part, we'll dive deep into the fundamental differences between greenhouse and open field farming, exploring their unique characteristics and operational models. In the second part, we'll break down the real investment costs, from initial setup expenses to ongoing operational costs, giving you exact figures that matter to your bottom line. In the third part, we'll analyze return on investment patterns, profit margins, and payback periods using current market data and case studies. In the final part, we'll examine the factors that should drive your decision-making process, including risk assessment, market conditions, and long-term sustainability considerations. Part 1. Understanding the two farming approaches. Greenhouse farming and open field agriculture represent two fundamentally different philosophies in crop production, each with distinct operational frameworks that directly impact profitability. Greenhouse farming operates within controlled environment agriculture, where every aspect of plant growth is precisely managed through sophisticated systems that regulate temperature, humidity, lighting, and nutrient delivery. Compared with conventional open field farming, greenhouse cultivation creates more favorable conditions for plant growth by artificially controlling temperature and air humidity to extend growing seasons and enhance yields. This controlled approach enables year-round production cycles, multiple harvests per year, and protection from external factors like weather extremes, pests, and diseases. The greenhouse environment allows farmers to optimize growing conditions for specific crops, resulting in higher quality produce and more predictable outcomes. Open field farming, by contrast, relies on natural environmental conditions and follows traditional seasonal patterns that have governed agriculture for centuries. This approach involves planting crops directly in soil under natural sunlight, rain, and weather conditions, making it dependent on climate, seasons, and geographic location. While open field farming requires significantly lower initial capital investment, it faces inherent challenges including weather unpredictability, seasonal limitations, pest pressure, and variable yields. However, it offers advantages in terms of scale potential, lower operational complexity, and reduced energy costs. The choice between these approaches fundamentally comes down to risk tolerance, capital availability, and long-term business objectives. This means that by having a greenhouse, your yield can be 10 to 12 times higher, making crop results more reliable compared to open field cultivation. The crop selection possibilities differ dramatically between these two farming methods, directly influencing profitability and market positioning. Greenhouse farming excels with high-value crops including tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, leafy greens like lettuce and spinach, herbs such as basil and cilantro, strawberries, flowers, and specialty crops like microgreens and exotic vegetables. These controlled environments are particularly suited for crops that benefit from consistent temperatures, protection from pests, and extended growing seasons. Open field farming dominates in large-scale commodity crops, including corn, wheat, soybeans, cotton, potatoes, carrots, onions, and tree fruits like apples and oranges. Field crops typically require more space, tolerate weather variations better, and are economically viable at larger scales where mechanization can reduce per-unit costs. Understanding these crop-specific advantages is crucial because they directly translate into vastly different cost structures and revenue potential. Part 2. Investment Costs Breakdown. The financial landscape of greenhouse versus open field farming reveals stark differences in capital requirements and cost structures that every potential farmer must carefully evaluate. According to industry data, the upfront costs for establishing a greenhouse can range from $20,000 to $50,000 per acre, including infrastructure components such as greenhouse structures, climate control systems, irrigation setups, and technology integration. More detailed analysis shows that on average, you can expect to spend anywhere from $6 to $60 per square foot, with larger and more advanced greenhouses at the higher end of the spectrum. For commercial operations, in the US, setting up a commercial greenhouse costs between $15 and $35 per square foot. These costs include structural components like steel or aluminum frames, polycarbonate or glass panels, foundation work, heating and cooling systems, ventilation equipment, automated irrigation systems, and sophisticated climate control technology. Open field farming presents a dramatically different cost profile with significantly lower barriers to entry. Initial investments for open field operations typically range from $3,000 to $8,000 per acre, primarily covering land preparation, basic irrigation infrastructure, farm equipment, and initial crop inputs. The major cost components include tillage equipment, planting machinery, irrigation systems, fertilizers, pesticides, and seasonal labor. However, the operational cost dynamics shift considerably over time. Greenhouse operations face higher ongoing expenses including energy costs for heating, cooling, and artificial lighting, specialized growing media, advanced fertilizers, and skilled technical labor. Although greenhouse or vertical farming is 3 to 5 times more expensive than growing on a conventional outdoor farm, it still allows for competitive pricing to the consumer with other vegetables and sides. Open field farming incurs lower operational costs, but faces higher risks from crop failures, weather damage, and pest losses that can significantly impact annual returns. The total cost of ownership over a 5-year period often reveals that while greenhouse farming requires substantially higher upfront investment, the predictable yields and premium pricing can offset these costs through consistent revenue streams. Part 3. Return on Investment Analysis. The return on investment landscape between greenhouse and open field farming presents compelling evidence for controlled environment agriculture, particularly when analyzed over multiple growing cycles and market conditions. Hydroponically grown leafy greens and microgreens have the highest profit margins at 40%. On average, profitable indoor vertical farms make $14.88 per square foot after operational costs. Greenhouse operations typically achieve payback periods of 3 to 5 years for well-managed facilities, compared to open field operations that may require 2 to 3 years, but face significantly higher revenue volatility. The yield advantages of greenhouse farming translate directly into revenue potential, with many greenhouse operations producing 6 to 12 harvests annually, compared to 1 to 2 harvests for seasonal open field crops. Profitability analysis reveals that greenhouse farming excels in high-value crops like tomatoes, leafy greens, herbs, and flowers, where quality premiums and consistent supply command higher market prices. Tomato greenhouse operations, for example, can generate revenues of $200,000 to $400,000 per acre annually, while open-field tomato farming typically yields $15,000 to $25,000 per acre per season. The revenue consistency factor proves crucial for business sustainability, as greenhouse operations maintain steady cash flow throughout the year, enabling better financial planning and reduced dependence on seasonal credit. Market analysis shows that greenhouse produce often commands 20% to 40% price premiums due to superior quality, extended shelf life, and reliable availability. According to a study by the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, greenhouse farming can reduce water usage by up to 90% compared to traditional open field farming. This efficiency translates into lower resource costs and improved sustainability metrics that increasingly influence consumer purchasing decisions and regulatory compliance requirements. Part 4. Decision-making factors and future outlook. The decision between greenhouse and open field farming extends beyond simple cost comparisons to encompass risk management, market positioning, and long-term sustainability considerations that will define agricultural success in the coming decades. Risk assessment reveals that greenhouse farming offers superior protection against climate volatility, pest outbreaks, and market supply fluctuations, making it increasingly attractive as weather patterns become more unpredictable due to climate change. The controlled environment provides insurance against crop failures that can devastate open field operations, offering more predictable returns for investors and lenders. Market trends strongly favor controlled environment agriculture, with the global greenhouse market size was estimated at $30.09 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $53.51 billion by 2030, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 10.3% from 2025 to 2030. This growth reflects increasing consumer demand for locally grown, pesticide-free produce available year-round. Geographic considerations play a crucial role in decision-making, as greenhouse farming proves particularly advantageous in regions with harsh climates, limited growing seasons, or urban proximity where land costs are high, but market access is excellent. Open field farming remains economically viable for large-scale commodity crops, extensive acreage operations, and regions with favorable climates and lower land costs. Technology advancement continues to favor greenhouse operations, with innovations in LED lighting, automation, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy systems reducing operational costs while improving yields and quality. Labor considerations also influence the decision, as greenhouse operations require more skilled technical workers, but often need fewer total labor hours due to automation and controlled conditions. The future trajectory strongly indicates that successful farming operations will increasingly adopt hybrid approaches, utilizing greenhouses technology for high-value crops while maintaining open field operations for suitable commodity crops. Environmental regulations, water scarcity concerns, and sustainability requirements are driving policy support for controlled environment agriculture, creating additional economic incentives through subsidies, tax credits, and preferential lending programs that further improve the investment case for greenhouse farming. This evolving landscape suggests that while both approaches will continue to coexist, greenhouse farming represents the growth sector with superior long-term investment potential for most agricultural entrepreneurs.